Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor India. And yes, I welcome you all to yet another episode of Copilot Chronicles. But yes, before we go live, let's go through our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding the differences, be kind and considerate in a way we all engage. Yes, we do encourage you all to participate. Please drop all your questions in the chat section and we'll pick it up from there. Oh, hang on. I have one small announcement to do. Yes, so we have Microsoft Build again coming up in a month of in this month by 21st to 23rd. Folks who all are near to Seattle can drop in person, and for that you need to register, and please again register for online session as well. So there is a link. I'll also drop in the link in the chat section. And now I'd like to bring in Ayca, who is our speaker for today's session. Hey, hi, how are you, Ayca?
Hi, Part. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
How's summer in Dubai?
It's not that bad at the moment, but I think in a couple of weeks it will get super hot. But at the moment, it's pretty nice, actually.
Oh, what time is it now in Dubai?
I think it's 3:30, and I guess we're about to start the session.
Yep, the floor is all yours, Aisha.
Awesome. Thank you, Part. Hi, everyone. It's so exciting to be here in this series. My name is Ayca Bas, and before I jump into the coding and real exciting part, I actually have a couple of slides for you to introduce the topics I will go through. This is a live session, so feel free to ask questions in the chat, and at the end of the session, I will try to answer most of them as much as possible. Briefly, to introduce myself, I'm a senior developer advocate at Microsoft, same team with Kamal. You've probably seen her in the other sessions in this series. Today, we will talk about building custom Copilot using Teams Toolkit, and then we will bring in our data from Azure AI Search, again using Teams Toolkit and Teams AI Library. And the reason why I want to introduce you Teams Toolkit and Teams AI Library before I jump into doing real coding, if any of you never heard of these toolings or libraries before, I think this would be a brief introduction to you. Otherwise, I think this will be a quick recap for you if you've been playing around with these toolings before. So, as you all know, this is a Copilot series, and all we talk about is Copilot. But there are two sides of Copilot. The first part is Copilot for Microsoft 365 and extending the existing Copilot with the tech stack like message extensions, graph connectors, per platform connectors, and all. And the other part is building your own. And when building your own Copilot, we have a couple of different tool sets as well. And one of them being Teams Toolkit and Teams AI Library. Of course, you can build Copilot using bot framework, and you can use Azure OpenAI, and today we will also use those. But if you want to bring your Copilot into Teams, Microsoft Teams, the tech stack I'm going to talk about are the easiest way to build your custom Copilot for the Teams platform. Let's briefly talk about what Teams Toolkit is, and I will show you hands-on as well. If you're an easy learner, when you see it hands-on like me, I think you will grasp it in a second when I switch to the VS Code. But Teams Toolkit is basically an extension for Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code and CLI. And there are simple templates projects to get started building apps for Microsoft Teams. And it is basically very easy to register an app. Let's say you want to build a bot or custom Copilot. You don't want to go through the entire bot framework registration, channel registration processes. These are actually behind the scenes handled by Teams Toolkit. And also there are easy defaults like deploying your app to Teams and also hosting your app in Azure. With just a couple of clicks, you'll be able to do all these stuff. And there's also support for multiple languages like .NET, JavaScript, TypeScript, and very recently Python. Today, specifically, I want to show this demo in Python. So you see that they also have support for Python, and we can do different stuff with Python as well, and we can build custom Copilot too. And what is the role of Teams AI library here? Teams AI library is basically the library we use for bringing our natural language model, a large language model, into our bots, into our custom copilots. And it's an easy way to build conversational bots using our LLM. And there are specific things inside this library special to Teams apps. It's a Teams-centric interface. So if you want to still use Teams components, but you want to bring in your LLM into your bots, custom copilots, then Teams AI library is the best choice to use. There is natural language processing, prompt engineering, moderation, planner. So all these things in the orchestrator part we need are already covered by Teams AI library. I will walk you through in the live code. And also LLM modularity. So you can bring the LLM of your choice using Teams AI library. So you're not depending on a single LLM in this scenario. All right, so just a brief, if you want to learn more about Teams AI Library, I know that my colleague Kamal shared more about Teams AI Library in the previous sessions. So if you want to deep dive into what Teams AI Library is, you can check out her previous video. But before talking more about the slides, I think we can jump into the demo. I have screen over here, so if I turn right all the time, it's because I'm looking at the other side of the screen to see your messages and also to see other details about my code. All right, so I will go to Visual Studio Code very quickly. So for this demo, as I mentioned, I will show the demo in Python, and I will use Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Currently, Python support is only available for Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code, and today that's what I am going to use. Quickly, if you've never heard Teams Toolkit, you can actually install Teams Toolkit from the extensions. And today I'm using the preview version. You can also use the preview version of Teams Toolkit. And you just need to click on switch to pre-release version, and it will switch to the pre-release version. This way, you will be able to see the preview functionalities, preview capabilities in Teams Toolkit too. Okay, so once you install Teams Toolkit, you will see Teams Toolkit icon on the left side of the menu, and then this will bring you some buttons. I hope you can see the screen clearly. I hope it is zoomed in enough. But if not, just tell us and we can zoom in more. So today what we're going to do is we will create custom Copilot using Teams Toolkit. If you click on create a new app, now you will see that there's a custom Copilot option on top. That means that currently we have templates in Teams Toolkit available with a pre-integrated version that covers the Teams AI library portion too. So if you create custom Copilot, as it mentions in the description, this template comes with Teams AI library integration already. So we don't have to install the library. We don't have to do all the setup. Pre-setup is already done for us. I will select custom Copilot, and we have multiple options here. We have basic chat bot that includes all the basic capabilities of the AI chatbot. We have chat with your data option, which we can actually include some knowledge from the data sources we want. And also there's an AI agent. This comes with an integration with LLM, and we can basically bring our assistant API from OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. If you already have an assistant, and if you already have an assistant API, you can actually use this template to bring your assistant into Teams. Okay, today we will go with chat with your data option. And under chat with your data, again, we have multiple options. We have customize, so you will be responsible loading your data. It can be coming from an API, it can be any data set you want to bring in. This customized template will allow you to bring any type of data. If you already have data in Azure AI Search, we have a template for you where you can load data from Azure AI Search. This template already has an integration with Azure AI Search thanks to Teams AI Library. Because today, Teams AI Library allow us to bring data source, Azure AI Search, by just using the library itself. We don't need to do any additional setup there. And custom API, we can use custom APIs based on OpenAI description. And we also have Microsoft 365 where we can dive into our data using Microsoft Graph and SharePoint, all this integrated inside the template. Today, we will use Azure AI Search in Python. So this template is also available in JavaScript, TypeScript, but we will use Python. I know it's preview. That means that we should maybe expect some not production ready setup there. So this is basically you should be able to accept some changes if there's some changes coming. In the preview versions, it's very normal that the templates are changing frequently. But if you want to see the early version of the template, you should also test in the preview. Okay, for the LLM of choice, I will go with Azure OpenAI. And either you can copy paste your Azure OpenAI service key in this setup point, or you can later go back to your keys and update them there. And I will just go back to my environment variables and update them all in the later stage in the code. So I will enter this and leave it blank. I will choose default folder, and let's give our app a name. For example, we can say custom copilot search, and you can call it anything. This will bring us a brand new app template with Azure AI Search integration. I will zoom in a bit more, but Parth, let me know if this zoom is enough or if there's any feedback in the chat about the zoom level. Okay, so you can go through the entire README, but I will highlight to you the main points of this template. This bot has Azure AI search integration. That means that we actually need Azure OpenAI keys and endpoints, as well as Azure AI search keys and endpoints. And where you can grasp those information, it's actually from Azure. So we are going to update our environment variables. If you want to run this locally on Teams, in the Teams client, then you can fill this information in env.local.user. If you just don't want to use any of these hard setups and you want to just test out the behavior of the bot, of the custom copilot, then you can use test tool. Teams app test tool is really easy way to test our custom copilot bots, because we don't need a Microsoft 365 developer account to test this out. We just need the required keys and hit F5 and be able to run our app. So that's why today we will use testtool.user. And here I will need all this information: open API key, then the endpoint, then we will need the deployment name and embedding deployment. After all this open AI information, we will also need the Azure AI search key and endpoint as well. Let me show you where you can actually get this information. If you used Azure before, you know that these are just the services resources in Azure. I already have Azure AI search resource and OpenAI resource. If you go to OpenAI and keys and endpoint, you should be able to get this information from here. And also, to create all these deployments, you will go to model deployments, click manage deployments, then you will be directed to Azure OpenAI Studio. And here you can create your deployment models, including, let's say, GPT-4, GPT-35 Pro, 3.5 Pro, or embeddings. Here I already have 2 deployment models I will use in my demo. The first one is GPT-35 Turbo that I will use as LLM. And also the second one is text embedding ADA 002. And this one I will use for converting my text data to embeddings. Okay. And the same thing, if you want the Azure AI search information, key and endpoint, you just need to go to your Azure AI search service. Then you will see the keys and endpoints there. I will go back to resource group and show you same thing exists in Azure AI search. This is Azure AI search, and I will create sorry, I will not create anything, but I will go to keys. In here, you will see keys available here. Okay, and also you should be able to get the endpoint from the overview part. Before I go any further, what I realized is I tested this demo a couple minutes before, so I already have Contoso Electronics. I need to delete. Otherwise, I know that this will create us an error because we will create the same index. Okay, so all these keys are available on Azure, and I have it right here as well. I will just grab these and paste it here, and quickly I will close this and I will refresh the keys once this demo is final. Okay, so the first configuration setup is creating the environment for Python. To do that, we will open the panel and then we will select create environment. To create the environment, we have two options. We have virtual environment and Conda environment. I will go with virtual, and then I will choose the Python version. You need to select requirements, and it's available in our project already. And I hit OK, and our environment is created successfully. The following step is already the step we covered. We updated all the keys for OpenAI and search, and we can skip that part. And finally, we need to, before running the app, we actually need to create our index on Azure AI search so that we can connect with Azure AI search and ask questions about our data. To do that, I will quickly show you what we have in terms of doing all this index setup in our source code. As you know, this is already pre-built, so this is already pre-integrated, let's say, with Azure AI search, so we should have some setup ready for us. Okay, if you go to source, you will see indexers. Let me extend indexers very quickly. Here, first thing I see is data. That means I already have some data about Contoso Electronics. So you can see here, if you don't have any data, you can go with this data set. This is going to work fine. Otherwise, you can bring your existing data. You can just drag and drop under the data folder, and this should just work fine. Let's go with the existing data set for now, just to make it easier. To upload this data to Azure AI search, we first need to create index. To do that, we first need to understand what is inside this data set. So this get data py file does all that. What it does is it gets the document data in Markdown, and if you're using, let's say, not Markdown, but PDF, you may need to edit this part and make it convenient for your scenario. What we do here is that we actually read the data, and for each data set, for each data Markdown, we create ID, title, description, and description in vector. So that means actually this template does vector search. It's not just text search. To create the vector, meaning to create the embedding in our data in Azure AI search, we are calling get embedding vector. Let's go to the definition, and here is the get embedding vector function. What it does basically is that it gets the data, it gets the document content, and then converts that into an embedding using our text embedding ADA model from OpenAI, Azure OpenAI. Once we convert that, we basically need the setup.py. Here, let's say that we created all the data set in JSON format with ID, title, description, and vector description. Then we create our index if index doesn't exist, meaning that we will create index name Contoso Electronics, and this already existed in our index in our Azure AI search, but I deleted it, so it needs to create a brand new one for us. Then we actually send all of our data and embeddings to Azure AI search inside index. So to do all this, we first need to run setup pi in our terminal. Then we should hit F5, run our app, and ask questions about our Contoso company policies and benefits and details. Okay, so this was the step we are supposed to follow in our README. Let me gather that for you. So we need to run setup pi. I don't want to type wrong. This happens to me all the time, so that's why I copied it. But what you just need to do is we need to run Python src/indexer/setup pi. When I hit this, then it is going to create the data set for all these 3 documents, and then it will create index in Azure AI search and upload all our documents, also including their embedding version in Azure AI search. I will hit F5 and enter, sorry, not F5, enter. Then we should be able to seeing some messages here in the terminal. So behind the scenes, as you can see, some stuff started happening. We have index created, meaning now we have Contoso Electronics index created. Now it's time to upload the new documents, and done. It's already there. Of course, we are testing out with 3 documents, but if you want to test it out with more, there's no limitation. You can just upload more documents under the data folder, and it should be just working fine. Okay, so wait, let's see. Okay, Contoso Electronics is here. It takes time to see it in the UI, so I'm just going to refresh this, but you should be able to see your data available here right away. Even though UI shows 0, the data is already here. When you hit search, it brings us all 3 documents, and see we have document ID, title, description, then description and vector. So we have the embedding version of our content. Now we are able to do vector search with our app. Okay, let's say that we are done with Azure AI search. We have our data ready. How we can make search on top of our data with Azure AI search? How this code actually works? That's what I'm going to show you. So, okay, I will go to prompts later. Let's go to bot.py, where everything happens. Let's scroll down. I'll close this. So here, a couple of elements I want to show about Teams AI library and what we actually get out of Teams AI library. First thing we get, and all these components are a part of Teams AI library. We have OpenAI model where you can integrate Azure OpenAI or OpenAI. This is the place where we bring our components from Azure OpenAI or OpenAI. We use the API key. The model, default model for us is 35 Turbo, and then endpoint of Azure OpenAI. Then we have prompts. Prompt Manager is also part of Azure, also a part of Teams AI library. This is the part we manage our prompt. And if you want to see what is happening in the prompts part, we actually take care of the prompts ourselves in this code as well. Our prompts stay under the prompts folder. Let's quickly go there and see. Currently, we only have one prompt option, which is chat. And chat has both config.json and also prompt.text. So let's start with the text content. Here, this is the place you define the conversation and also the characteristics of your assistant, of your custom copilot. If you edit this part, then you are actually editing the behavior of your custom copilot. Here, as you can see, we have a very generic description, like this is an AI assistant answering questions over the given text, and just respond with 80 words, so on and so forth. So let's say if I add something more here, use emojis where appropriate in your messages, then let's see if we will actually see emojis in the response of custom copilot. This is the place where we define the instructions, the system prompt basically for our custom copilot. And if we quickly go to config, this is the setup for our custom copilot. You can change the completion settings and see the different behavior from our custom copilot. And finally, under the augmentation, you see data sources, Azure AI search. That means that our Azure AI search is actually coming from the setup we have from Teams AI library. Let's quickly go back to bot.py. And I think we have a good understanding of the prompt manager where we manage the prompts. And also we can add data source to our prompts. This is also a benefit of Teams AI library. This is how we leverage Azure AI search. As you can see, not only we actually have all the setup and instructions coming from prompt manager, but also we can add Azure AI search data source as a part of our prompt. We just define the name of the data source, which is Azure AI search. Then we define the index name where our data lives and the key and endpoint of Azure AI search, and we are good to go. We should be able to talk with our data. Then we have planner, and this helps us basically moderate all the model and prompts. And we use memory storage for this. It is not recommended for production, but because this is just a demo, we will continue using the memory storage, and we are good to go. We can pretty much F5 and see the result of our custom copilot. In this case, we should be able to chat with our data already indexed to Azure AI search. I will go to Teams Toolkit, and you can just F5, by the way, but I want to see the environment. We have test tool, local, and dev for us. We actually put all the keys inside test tool because we don't want to deal with logging into Teams and having Microsoft 365 account. We will just test this in app test tool. I will hit debug and debug in test tool. This is also in preview, but I think it's an amazing solution if you just want to see the behavior of your bot, custom copilot. I think this is very great. Okay, so this is the app test tool, and you can see the chat, and you will see the behavior of Teams. You can test your app if it is made for a channel. You can see it in the group chat, personal chat, so on and so forth. We can ask our first question. I will zoom in for you so you can see it better. First, I actually need to understand what we can ask. Let's go to our data and see what we can ask. Contoso electronic benefits. Okay, let's ask the benefits. I will ask, tell me about the Contoso electronic benefits. So in this case, I'm expecting my custom copilot to basically give me an information, what we have in our markdown file, because it's already indexed in Azure AI search. Give me not more than 80 words, but also, as you remember, we define in the prompts, we want to also see some emojis where appropriate. And the result shows us all, basically, we have the brief information about our benefits, not more than 80 words, as well as together with emojis, which is really awesome. That means that we are able to work with our data, chat with our data coming from Azure AI search, already indexed, and we can ask questions about our own data. Let's ask something more. Let's check what we have. Perk Plus program. Let's ask about, what about Perk Plus program. And here I don't even mention Contoso Electronics. Let's see if actually it understands. And I see here that it already understands that I'm talking about Contoso Electronics. It stays in the scope and give me an information about the Perks Plus, um, and really fun emojis too. So all I tried to show today is basically a getting started, building your custom copilot and bringing your data from Azure AI Search. This is just the basic template you can use by just installing Teams Toolkit to Visual Studio Code, and you can get started right away building your own. If you already have your own data to test out, I highly recommend you to test it out with your own data by using your own data. So you will see more benefits to it. If you bring your enterprise data, then you will be able to create custom copilot on top of your enterprise data too, which is awesome. And if you want to see more complex and different content and are curious about what is this all retrieval augmented generation and everything we talk about, this Azure AI search, how you can set all this up by yourself, then I also have a let me quickly go back to the slide and then I'll show you what I have. Okay, so we also have a new video available on Microsoft 365 Developer YouTube channel. If you go to our channel, you will see on top that we have Intro to RAG, what is Retrieval Augmented Generation video available on our YouTube channel. And the same demo I showed today is available there, but with more complex setup, with more complex data. In that case, if you're curious how you can build this for, let's say, multiple data sets, not just three markdown, then you can check out the YouTube channel as well. The same data source, the same demo I showed in the video, Doodle to Code video, the code is also available in the GitHub. I can quickly go and try to find that source code. So it's in my personal GitHub repository, and you can see how to set up and run this code sample. In this demo, I'm showing the space AI search, meaning I'm actually customizing the very same template we created, but I just replaced the data set to the space documentation, like more information about the planets and space travel and so on. And I customized the code a little bit to read the PDF files. Then I asked questions about my own data. If you want to test out this version as well, you can go ahead and check out my GitHub repository too. Okay. And I think we are ready for Q&A. If there are any questions, we can answer right away.
Yeah, hi Aisha. Can you share a link of the GitHub repo that you just spoke about?
Yes, of course, I can share.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I like to bring in Kamal. She's in the backstage. Yep.
Oh, great.
Hey, hi Kamal.
Hey folks. Hey Charles, sorry.
No problem.
I had to join late. But anyway, Path has been awesome in running this show for me. So thank you so much, Path. And so in the meantime, you get the GitHub. We have a couple of questions. And coming to the question regarding a lot of people asking about the recorded part of this event, yes, it's available on the YouTube, which is live stream. So Path will post the link in the comment section where you can kind of view the link and get the a recording of this video. And also we will post the GitHub link which Ayca will provide us one very soon. And there you go. And thank you so much, Ayca. That was an awesome session and a fresh release of your new doodle where people get to see it and also get to see what is all about the new RAG thing all about. So I had a question because I keep getting a lot of questions related to it. When it comes to the prompt, text is always the basic thing. It absolutely works fine. What if I want to go with some image analysis? Do you have an
Mhm.
example to show, or what are the challenges you have, or what are the prerequisites that a developer should keep in mind while inputting image as the prompt and extracting data out of it?
So for creating an image data source, you first need to use a different model. So GPT-35 Turbo won't work to index the data, but today Azure OpenAI provides indexing your image as well if you use GPT-4. And you can definitely do that. You can index your data, create vector and embedding of your image data, and you should be able to ask questions about your image data too. The only difference will be the setup behind the scenes. I highly recommend developers to use directly Azure OpenAI Studio to set up your data set, or you can basically use the code that is provided in Azure OpenAI, or Azure AI Search also provides some documentation about that. Before actually applying that to Teams and using Teams Toolkit to create your custom Copilot, I recommend you to set up your data and just bring your keys and data set into the custom copilot, because image data set is more complex, and currently doesn't our templates don't have setting up image resources. It's only the text, but you can actually do that by customizing the code in get data and also set up parts. You just need to edit some bits in the code, and you should be good to go.
All right. So, okay, so inputting an image file sounds good. Definitely, we need to train our model, and it'll be good to go. How about
Yes.
analysis of a invoice or analysis of a photo, um, kind of depicting what's in the image, and based out of that, you get prompts. Is that a possibility? At least, if not now, or is it possible, or in going future, we would get something like that here?
No, it's currently available in GPT-4. So you should be
Okay.
able to use Delhi or GPT-4 to get that information right away. I highly recommend developers to go play around in Azure OpenAI Studio so you can see the capabilities, what is available there. If you don't have the subscription or access to Azure OpenAI Studio, you can actually go to our documentation. You can see the capabilities there. It's all available. And what you're just describing is we're able to do it even today.
Okay, great. I'm sorry, that's my
No
daughter in the
problem.
background. So, yeah. So, one last question I think we have as of now is from Amin. He says, is there any resource for using SharePoint as data source and creating a chat or search on your own SharePoint documents?
Yes. So instead of in the first step of this demo, I showed creating a custom copilot, and then I select chat with your data. Then I selected Azure AI Search. Instead of selecting Azure AI Search, if you choose Microsoft 365 data, then in that template, we already have a graph integration where you can chat with your data from SharePoint. So just use the Microsoft 365 data template in the option instead of Azure AI Search, and you should be good to go. You will be able to chat with your SharePoint documents right away from that setup.
Definitely. So, I mean, your question must be answered here. If not, Acha is willing to kind of have a discussion. You can ping her on LinkedIn, so we will share the profile. And I think that's it from our end. Acha, if you have any announcements to be made again quickly, you can go ahead, use this podium or use this medium as to share one. So please go ahead if you have something related to build or anything as such.
Thank you, Kamal. I'm all good. And I just shared a GitHub repo, as well as I posted a YouTube video for what is RAG video, doodle to code video we just published. If you want to learn more about RAG and also more dive into this demo I showed today, you can check out our recent YouTube video too. I'm hoping Part or Kamal can put the video in the chat. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining in the session. And
Thank you
if you
so
have any
much.
questions, feel free to connect me through Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any detailed questions from there too.
Definitely, HR. We will do that. Thank you so much for being a great speaker. We always look forward for your sessions. Thank you so much. And a quick reminder: we have almost halfway through the Global Copilot Developer Summit for M365. We are done with Toronto, Redmond, San Francisco. Tomorrow we have in Sao Paulo, and then we have London, Shanghai, um, Dubai, and a couple of more places. So if you are interested or any of your friends are available in these cities and would love to be a part of it, I will ping the registration link. So get them registered, and we are good to go. Thank you so much. Looking forward to see you in another session of Copilot Chronicles. Until then, thank you. And thank you,
Thank
Path, for
you.
being such a great host. Thanks, HR.
Bye.
Bye.